We are continuing to follow the war in Israel. Israel's preparing for a major offensive against Hamas. Both sides bombarding civilian areas and showing no signs of slowing down.
That's right. And joining us now, we have Cecile Shea from the Chicago Council on Global Affairs. And we want to thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time.
Thanks. I wish it was under better circumstances, but I appreciate your time.
All right. And, in light of the escalation in fighting and the growing humanitarian crisis, what is your biggest fear going forward? What does the fight ahead look like?
Yeah, so there's the short-term issue and there is the long-term issue. And what you're seeing on both sides of the border there right now is just complete despair, about the long-term in particular. The peace movement in Israel feels like they were totally betrayed. A lot of the Israelis who were killed in the attack were actually active in the peace movement. They were members of the left. There were a number of Arab citizens of Israel who were just shot in cold blood. One of them was driving an ambulance. He was shot in cold blood. His ambulance was stolen. Bedouin were shot while they were walking along the road. So there's just despair on the left that they really don't have any partner. They've been trying to convince Israelis for decades that the Palestinians want peace and that they should be negotiating with them. And this is just going to kill the Israeli left for a while. There is no interest from their side right now for negotiating, certainly not with Hamas. On the Gazan side, there's despair. Of course, Israel did turn the water back on yesterday, thanks to President Biden, who is very popular in Israel right now because of a speech he gave last week. And so he has some power there. So he was able to convince the Netanyahu government to make things a little better for the Gazans. But the Gazans know what is coming. Israel believes it has no choice but to go in and destroy the military capabilities of Hamas. This is being reported in the West as being vengeance or something. That's not how the Israelis are looking at it. Certainly not my friends and contacts there. They're looking at it as a security necessity. They cannot allow Hamas to do again what it did 10 days ago. So in the short term, things are looking pretty grim for the Palestinians, who, of course, are moving as far south as possible because the Israelis have said that it's the north that they're going to reoccupy, at least in the short term. For the Israelis, there's despair about the future and about whether there will ever be peace with the Palestinians. I think for the U.S., there's an opportunity. Again, there is renewed belief that the U.S. is not going to let Israel suffer from terrorism, but that gives us a little bit of strength maybe to try to cajole the Israelis to take some steps to make it a little easier to eventually get back to the peace table. But it's going to take a while. I mean, there is so much anger on the Israeli side right now. And the Palestinians, the poor Palestinians are caught in the middle. I mean, most Palestinians think what Hamas did was crazy and terrible. And they now know that their chances of living normal lives are even further into the future than they were 2 weeks ago.
So let me ask you, it's been more than a week of fighting. When you go through social media, you get a sense that a lot of people aren't abreast of the history. They're not knowledgeable about how we got to this point, what led up to this point. Would you recommend any sources of information for people out there to educate themselves a little bit better about what's going on and how we got to this point?
Yeah, I mean, that's really difficult. There have been some fact finders in the New York Times and in some other places. And I mean, just really briefly, that Hamas has been in control of Hamas, which is also a political party in addition to being a terrorist group and a religious movement, has been in control of Gaza since 2007. And Hamas has never recognized Israel's right to exist. And it comes really back down to that. Hamas does not recognize Israel's right to exist and wants to establish an Islamic state in all of what is now Israel. The other political party representing the Palestinians does recognize Israel's right to exist and is willing to negotiate, but Israel has not really negotiated in good faith with them. So that is a summary of how we got to this point. But I do think that looking at some of the fact finders in some of the major papers can be helpful. And maybe I think your question points to the fact that maybe the Chicago Council needs to put together a little primer, and I'm going to recommend that today because I agree that the history of the region is complicated and changing constantly.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time this morning. We appreciate it. Cecile Shea.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Much more coverage on the war in Israel when we come back.